This week's episode of Lovers Quarrel is brought to you by Gainz Sports Gear. Embrace the process. And you can get 10% off your first order using the code LOVERS10 at Gainz with a Z, Gainz, sportsgear.com. And now, the show.
Hey everybody.
What's going on, world?
This is your girl Dani.
This is your guy TJ.
And this is another episode of Lovers Quarrel.
Another episode. Episode number 22. Deuce.
Yeah.
Sorry if that was too loud, y'all.
Well, you are loud, so they should know that by now.
Yeah,
22 episodes in.
That's what you said.
It's the truth.
Debatable.
Okay. Not up for debate.
How are you doing today, Dani?
I'm doing okay. I'm actually, it's nice out. It's fine. It went from like winter to summer. We kind of skipped spring, but I'm not complaining at all. So, I am just ready for the warm weather. How about you?
I'm cool, Get to record episode 22. This is special. And then we're recording.
Yeah.
So, recording, trying it ourselves and seeing how this comes out. So, you'll be able to see this on YouTube as well. We already have 2 videos up there. We're just trying to grow it.
Make sure y'all check it out.
So.
Yeah, it's been a while since it's just been me and you.
It has.
We've had like a lot of guests.
Yeah, a lot of guests.
Doing a lot of ripping around.
My girl, Wheezy.
Hey, Wheezy.
Shout
hey,
out to my
Mandy.
girl, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle.
Of course, shout out to the homie, Mandy.
What's up, girl?
Shout out to my guy, Jay Hill.
Yes.
B. Garrett.
And the list goes on and on.
Who else do we have?
EJ. He was our first guest. Hi, EJ.
My frat brother, EJ. And my guy now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Rock B. Wild.
Yeah, Rock B. Wild, the unpopular opinion. Go check him out.
Yes, do that.
Shameless plug. Is that what they say?
Yeah, shameless promotion.
Yeah, shameless promotion. So, And if you hear that, that is our dog eating.
She decided to eat her food right now.
I'm eating. She's entertained.
Yeah.
She's watching, dinner and a movie.
Exactly. And London gives no shits.
Pretty much, so.
Well, I guess let's just jump right into elevator talk. So if we feeling up, we got something, good to talk about. If we going down, then.
Well, before we go there, first, this is your first time listening to Lovers Quarrel. Thank you for checking.
Yes, thank you. Hopefully you found us.
Hopefully you love us.
Yes.
And if you hate us, please let us know so we can try to be someone you love,
Yeah, leave comments saying, put your damn dog in another room.
That works.
But I'm not, because this is her house. She lives here too.
No. She can go in another room.
No, she can't. She lives here.
Well, that's cool.
She gets mail here. She can roam this house.
That's crazy to me.
Listen.
Be great.
She pay bills.
Yeah, she does, but... Again, thank you for listening. In all seriousness, it's you could be listening to anything else. You could be doing anything else. So if you took the time to just listen to us and for the first time, I really appreciate it. I know we do too, but I really appreciate it.
That was very kind. You said it all.
And now to elevator talk. You got any noises for elevator? Since you like to make noises.
First floor.
Okay. I've never been to an elevator that said first floor.
You never, the ones that say like second floor.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I haven't been on one of those.
Yeah, you have been on an elevator that's done that.
In a while. Sorry, that's what I meant.
Say, like, who hasn't been on an elevator that like announces the floor?
I mean, listen, I'm having a Kanye moment.
Oh yeah, we'll get to him. They don't have like 13 floors in a lot of buildings, right?
Yeah, because it's like bad luck.
I know. Do you know what the fear of the number 13 is called?
No.
It's called triskaidekaphobia. My dad taught me that.
Random thoughts.
Well,
that's why you're the bright one in this relationship.
Random knowledge is my thing. So there's your little tidbit. If you ever playing a game of like, Trivial Pursuit or
fuck somebody up real quick.
Yes, exactly. If you had a little game night at a bar or whatever, and they'd be like, what is fear of the number 13 called?
Boom.
Dani has got you. Fuck some shit up. So moving right along on my elevator talk. Second floor. I'm all on the up right now. Okay. Like, I got one more.
I don't think I have any negatives, so.
Yeah, I don't have any, like, so I've got one more, like, assignment before the end of the semester. Okay. It's been a lot. Like, this has been a hell of a year as far as me being a mother, a wife, a teacher, a student, and even though I am taking one summer course that is still over the summer, I won't have to work. So this is a culmination of like me, like blood, sweat, and tears type of thing of getting to the end of the semester. I already got one grade in. I got an A in one class, so I'm happy about that.
Talk your shit.
And I already said, like, I'm excited because, the weather's changing. I'm a summer baby. I love the warm weather. And then also, we saw Avengers this week, and I was, like most of you, I'm not going to spoil it or anything like that because I'm not that type of person, but
it definitely spoil it. If you haven't seen it by now, then.
But some people didn't get to see it. We didn't get to see it until Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, but people, we got to give them at least 2 weeks. Give them at least 2 weeks. Next week's episode, we can talk about whatever.
You won't spoil it. I will.
So it was a great movie. I laughed. I shed a few tears.
No, you was boo.
I was not boo-hooing. I shed like 6 tears.
Boo-hooing.
And that's my business.
The person next to me was like, is she okay?
They were not like that.
Yes, they were.
No, they weren't.
The person next to me, I didn't say next to you.
I know that. Nobody said anything to you.
Definitely did.
Swear on Tatum.
I swear on Tatum.
Who was that? Not Tatum. Nobody said anything, but then I even got like choked up on this other part because like it reminded me of my dad, but it was a great movie. So
I'm not gonna joke on that part. But the part that has nothing to do with my father-in-law, you were boo-hooing.
Was not boo-hooing. I shed a few tears.
All right.
I wasn't like snotting crying and like, oh my God, I can't believe.
Too many.
That's not too many.
Right,
and then I will argue that because I was already placed into an emotional state, my investment in these characters and the fact that like I got taken aback by the reminder of my dad, I feel like I should be given a pass.
It's not fair. You can't throw that in there.
Why not?
The two had nothing to do with each other.
But it put me in a state. I was in a frame of mind.
And it was like the beginning of the movie versus the end of the movie. Like that was like a 2-hour difference.
The point is that I was in an emotionally vulnerable state.
For 2 hours.
Yes.
All right, you got it.
But it was a really great movie. Go see it ASAP.
It was a great movie.
What about you? What's going on?
Nothing. Are you finished with your elevator?
I am. Third floor.
Third floor. We go to the fourth floor.
Fourth floor.
Yeah, your voice is like perfect for this.
For the elevator?
Yeah.
I guess, if this teaching thing doesn't work out, I could just do the voiceovers for elevator.
Be voice. Exactly. You could just be a voiceover for anything. Your
22nd floor.
Now go back to the fourth. When you went to
fourth floor.
Thank you. Everything was positive, I just finished my second master's.
Woo woo. Yeah. Show off.
It's not really a show off. I'm just glad to be done.
I got 2 masters. What you got?
I didn't say that.
That's exactly what you said. Translation, TJ's translation, but I got 2 masters.
Nah, not at all. I'm really regular.
Everybody doesn't have 2 master's degrees. No. I don't have 2 master's degrees. I don't have 1 master's degree.
That's my choice, though.
I'm still on my first one.
You're doing one right now.
I'm behind the curve.
No, you're not really. Anyway, so I'm glad to be done with that. That has been very stressful, as Dani said. I would implore, is that the right word?
Yes.
I would implore people that if they're thinking about getting their masters, do it before you have kids.
Yes.
Do it when you're okay with losing time.
And sleep.
Because it's hard. It was extremely stressful. And I'm glad I did it. I'm glad to be the first male in my family to have it,
Are you?
I am.
A master's?
And my first male.
Oh, yeah.
My mother has a master's.
Oh, yeah. I guess so.
Yeah.
On either side? Like first male on either side?
On the Byerson side and...
The Mim side?
Yeah.
Look at you. And your brothers on en route.
Yeah. Finally get to beat them or something. Feel me?
Oh, my God.
So, I'm glad I finished it. More so just because I know a lot of people, when you say TJ, they wouldn't have thought I would do this. So it's kind of like that.
You didn't ever seem like the biggest fan of school. So the fact that you went back twice.
And just everything. I just think if you ask people, TJ at 10 years old, TJ at 13, 14, 15, 16, I don't think people would have said, yeah, he's going to get his master's. So the fact that I have 2 of them, it's it's a great accomplishment.
It is. It's amazing.
More than anything, now it's just about trying to find the right job so that way those masters don't go wasted. But it was a great experience. But again, I just implore everyone, if you're thinking about doing it, make sure you have the time,
the energy.
Because it was a lot of sacrifices, a lot of fights and arguments, and who's gonna watch the baby so we can do our assignment, because you have something to do, I have something to do. So that's just my 2 cents on that. But yeah, I'm just glad to be done, and that's it for my elevator.
Good.
You gotta
prepare for the closing doors.
Okay, yeah, that was perfect. That was perfect.
Even though that's the train, but still.
Okay, but listen, you just throw it all together anyway.
All right. Well, it's now time for our relationship tip of the week. And this week's relationship tip definitely comes from, I think, an experience that TJ and I had earlier this week, I guess. And I think it's still a good tip that when you're in a relationship or any type of ship or friendship, whatever, that you, from time to time when needed, call each other out, or you push each other with questions. You ask the probing questions, because, and this is not to be confused with duking it out. This is not oh, I'm trying to argue with the person, but it's if you are, if it can't be, if not the person that you're in a relationship with, who is going to ask you sometimes the tough questions. And I think this goes both ways, because so this time it was me asking the probing questions, and it didn't go great at all, but it was done from a place of love, and it was from a place of trying to understand and getting clarity. And whether or not sometimes whether or not we want to admit it, simply even just being in the same space with each other for all these years, we do know each other much better than the average person on the street.
Debatable.
So with that being said, I think it's important that sometimes even though it might lead to an argument, even though it might,
that's life.
It might lead to a meaningful conversation, but you shouldn't be scared to ask questions, even if you know that it may ruffle some feathers of your significant other. But sometimes, you have to be the person to hold up the mirror to your significant other, to your best friend, to your family member, to be like, hey, have you thought about this? And
yeah, no,
in the long term, I think they'll appreciate it.
They can. I do think that, asking questions. I mean, calling each other out, though, when you say that, it's kind of different than asking a question.
Okay, fair. I was
someone out is
you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. So I'm
you do this, and you say you didn't do this. That's,
okay, that's fair. So I'm more so saying pushing back or asking a question.
They can all be tips, though. I mean, you can
take it or leave it.
Call each other out, push your significant other or your friend, and ask questions. Those can all be combined.
Yeah, they're they're related, like first cousins to each other at times.
True.
But not to be confused with duking it out. Not to say it wouldn't lead to duking it out where you have an argument, but it's not, the intent isn't there to have a fight. What do you think?
I like it. I think that calling each other out is needed. Sometimes you do have to push people, and sometimes you have to ask the questions. I think they all work. So I like it for the tip of the week, especially with the weeks we've been having. So it works out.
Yeah. All right. So it is now time for a listener letter, and I think this is a really good one. I'm not gonna say the person's name because I don't know whether or not he wants it to be shared. So, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get it popping. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So it says here, what's up, guys? First off, I want to say I love seeing Black love, and y'all definitely present that on the podcast. Hey. Thank you. I came across your podcast through Horrible Decisions. Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
So now let's hear this, where the actual issue is. I have just a little problem that's been on my mind and needed some advice on how I should handle the situation. Okay. Me and my fiance have been together for 10 years and we're getting married this June. Congratulations. My problem is her brother got out of jail about 6 years ago and he's a little like Jody from the movie Baby Boy.
Jody?
I hate you, Jody.
Jody?
I hate you. Basically, he's a 35-year-old man that still blames people for his problems. He's had 5 kids by 4 different women since he's been released from prison.
God, that man was getting it.
He was making up for lost time for real. It's a lot to his story, but I want to tell you where my problem comes in. Now, my fiance is 2 years older than him, but she treats him like a baby. Calls and checks on him, asking did he buy his son medicine. Every time him and his girlfriend gets into a fight, she goes running over there like she's his woman, and that bothers me. I'm the youngest of 3, and I don't put none of my siblings before her, but she comes first before everybody. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting, but I just want to I want her to let her brother be a man and let him figure it out on his own. I believe as long as their family keeps holding his hand through life, he's going to keep being irresponsible. It's a lot on my mind. Sorry. It's a lot on me. Sorry. And I know I'm all over the place in this email, so I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. I got you. Good. And here's something that you can see for our love for each other. Keep up the good work. Signed, y'all keep up the good work. So he, anonymous, attached.
With the podcast, though.
Huh?
It says, y'all keep up the good work with the podcast.
Oh, with the okay, I apologize. I didn't.
I'm just saying, we're going to read it.
Read it verbatim. So, yeah, so that's a lot going on in there. He attached the video, his like save the date with his fiance, and then like a video of them on vacation. So I got to see, did you see it? I saw the brother in the video, and so I was like, okay, all right, at least have like some faces to this scenario. Okay. So what do we need to call him? We can call him like, what was Ving Rhames' character in Baby Boy's name? Melvin. So we gonna call him Melvin. Just our letter writer. Right. Melvin.
Dear Melvin.
I understand your frustration. That is a lot going on. And I don't think you're wrong for feeling some type of way. I think that, don't get me wrong, like family is important. And a relationship between siblings is unlike any other relationship. Like you guys are each other's, those are your first friends. Those are people that, you grow up with being taught the same things, the same mentality. However, in a lot of situations, there's also a time and place where you got to kind of like, sometimes they'll say like, talk about like cutting the cord from like your parent, but sometimes you have to like loosen the reins from your siblings too. Like you can't, be super save a sister or super save a brother all the time. So I'm going to start by saying that, no, you're not wrong for feeling some type of way about how your fiance is.
I agree. He's not.
Constantly swooping to save the day with her very grown brother.
100%. I think family dynamics go into it. As he stated, everyone in his family kind of babies him, and I think that may be why he's been in jail multiple times. That's
somebody's always there to pick up the pieces.
Maybe that's why he has, what is it,
5 kids, 4 baby mamas,
mothers, and a 6-year span.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no accountability for it. And, again, you're not wrong at all. I think you need to have that conversation with your fiance. Y'all been together for a long time. And I think you have already kind of established like the married, put my wife first mentality, and maybe she hasn't.
Yeah, and I think it needs to be addressed now, because I promise you, saying I do, stand in front of a bunch of people that you love and marrying her is not going to be the flip of a switch, and all of a sudden now she's going to be like, okay, now I'm going to fall back, or whatever. If she's saying that, like, oh, once you get married it'll be different, I promise. It's really hard to unlearn that type of behavior, and
and it can be detrimental to your relationship.
It can be.
Because you're okay with it now, but as you said, what happens if the situation gets crazier, What happens if...
Like, if she's going over there, like, is she trying to... And then you didn't say this in the letter, but, like, if he's beefing with one of his baby mothers, it's like she going over there to, like, fight or to like mediate, because that really makes a big difference too, like, because that could be a whole nother level of issues. And I mean, I would hope that it's to mediate, but if she's trying to like be the female and the, you know, because he doesn't want to put his hand, you know what I mean, like, you know, some people like, oh, I'm gonna get my girl cousins or I'm gonna get my sister. So it's just like, if that's the case, then that's even more unacceptable.
With him being the older man, with him being older, I can understand the sister wanting to protect her brother, but she should also know, like, if your brother's a fuck up, you know, your brother's a fuck up. Mm-hmm. Like, you should just know who people are. Mm-hmm. You know, when they show you who they are for the first time, believe who they are. Mm-hmm. And you can't save them forever.
Yeah.
You can't save them forever. And you have to have that conversation because, and it has to come from her more than anything, because it can't come across that you're trying to put a wedge
between them. Yeah, because then they're
gonna hate you. I don't know what that was.
Me neither.
Now they're gonna hate you or dislike you, and he may be a cool dude, and you know what I mean. But I would recommend you speak with your fiance. And then if she doesn't feel comfortable, then you may need to have that conversation with him.
Yeah, but start with your fiance, because that's your connection to that family, and that's who you're marrying. But you are married. When you marry somebody, you do marry their entire family and
their problems.
And therein lies the problem, because you do not just get to, you know, pick and choose, and, you know, like, basically you can't cherry pick what parts of your in-laws that you want to deal with and what parts you don't. But I think it's important to set like a hard line about what, you know, or talk about it and be like, you know, listen, I'm not saying don't support your brother. I'm not saying like don't be family. You can't talk to him. You can't hang out with him.
But we're older. And you don't need to be fighting.
You're not supposed to. Yeah, you're not his mother.
If
you're not. And he's
bad financial decisions. You're not supposed to save him because.
Yeah, he's a father. Saving something. Yeah, he's a father. He should remember to buy medicine for his child. He should know how to handle himself. And the 100%. Thing is, like, I don't know if you and your fiance Melvin have kids together, but if you do, then like, where does that, like, you know, your priorities fall? Like, I mean, and don't get me wrong, when people fall on hard times or people in a time of need, of course we've all been there where we've like dropped everything to be there for family. But it sounds like here, like, her brother Jody is a constant squeaky wheel that requires the oil.
And she's the oil.
Huh? And she has become the oil. So I think to kind of wrap it up and kind of put a bow on this, it's like, A, you're not wrong for how you feel. B, you need to speak to your wife about how you feel. Fiance about how you feel before y'all walk down the aisle in, when did you say, like, June? So it's May. You better get on it quick.
Yeah, and you know what? When you do talk to her, I wouldn't expect it to be a overnight change.
Exactly, it's gonna be multiple conversations.
But you need to have that conversation to be able to at least plant the seed and start working towards it. Listen, I'm all for family, 100%, but I'm not gonna do something that will be detrimental to my relationship. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big believer of having that conversation so that way y'all on the same accord. Because if you don't, it's going to eat you inside. Mm-hmm. And then one day you may flip out on her, and it may not be something that's big, but you're flipping out because you've had these feelings for so long. So I would definitely recommend having that conversation with her. And then 3, asking her if it's okay that you speak to her brother. Tell her the situation, and then, you know what I mean, if y'all are going to be brothers, mm-hmm. maybe you can have that conversation. I wouldn't tell the brother, like, you got to stop doing this, but kind of try to understand where he's coming from. Try to understand why his thought process is like,
let me call my sister.
Like, I'm good here.
I'm 35 years old. I'm calling my sister over to, like, when my fights. And you yourself, you said you're the youngest of 3, and so if she has a hard time getting it, ask her, like, I don't know, you know, your older brother and brothers or sisters, whoever, it was like, how would you feel if every time me and you got into it in the 10 years we've been together, one of my siblings came over here to either, you know, co-sign for me or to try and mediate and this, that, and like, how would you feel if every time I fucked up, somebody was like out here trying to bail me out, or like, you know, or I was doing that for my siblings? Like, how would that make you feel? And it's, you know, I think TJ's right in that, you definitely should talk to your fiance first to see if your fiance.
Is that I'm right?
Shut up. See if your fiance is willing to have that conversation with him. I don't guarantee that it's going to be the easiest conversation you're going to have with her, but have it or start the process of talking. And like TJ said, it's not going to be overnight, but start having these conversations now, because I can promise you saying I do is not going to be the flip of a switch, and it's not going to change everything. It's going to only then make you feel more frustrated because, okay, like now I've got legal and spiritual ties that bind. I've committed to you, and yet I'm still, this part of our relationship is gnawing at me. Her brother is a grown ass man because he's got enough kids to show for it, and he needs to, your sister, and and it's not, I wouldn't even say it's her brother's fault, because he's going to take all the help he can get, because why would I turn away all this free help?
Most people will.
But it's up to your fiance to start to fall back.
Or solution, you said that the family does it. Tell your sister, let the family do it. Mm-hmm. Me and you are building this over here. He doesn't need 15 people. Like, if he has 15 people and we removed you, they still got 14. Mm-hmm. It should not destroy their relationship. Yeah. Brothers and sisters, siblings are always going to be siblings. But at some point, you have to make that decision to allow him to grow. He's not going to grow.
He'll be stagnant. He is going to be like a grown ass baby man.
But he already is. Which
he already is. And so she's stifling his growth, and her family is stifling her brother's growth because they're not letting him fall. Like, I mean, clearly he's made mistakes, and he's, served time for it. But now it's like, okay, you've had time to get acclimated back to society. You might still have your struggles, and we're here for you. Like, it doesn't mean cut out support totally. It just means that I need to now support you in ways that are befitting a 35-year-old man. If you need me to look over your resume, or if you need me to, help you, come up with a budget so that way you can make sure you can afford everything, or refer you to a daycare or something.
If you need me to help you create a schedule, like a planner, so that way you can put,
yeah,
make sure you buy medicine.
Then I'm here for you. Like that, and that should be the stuff that should be the stuff you can encourage your fiance to do, because it's not going to be something like cold turkey, like it's going to be a straight cutoff. But there are more adult ways to support, that she can support her brother, that don't require, that would probably be more understanding to you, and still, and not necessarily coddling him. So I think so I would express that you don't feel comfortable with the ways in which she supports her brother, and maybe make it like a compliment sandwich. Tell her the ways that you do feel like, I love how you're there for your brother. I love how how your family loves to rally around people. However, I feel like there are some aspects to how you support your brother that might be hurting him more than helping him in the long term. And then
Go ahead.
And then basically saying okay, there might be other ways, and I need to tell you this now before we say I do, because just like, you're not going to automatically stop helping your brother over after we get married, I'm not going to all of a sudden be fine with it after we get married.
And I probably wouldn't go that far with it, as far as how you just communicated it. A big thing I'm going to say is how you communicate. Communication is key. And if you're coming with hostility, if you're coming with anger, it's going to turn them off.
It sounded hostile?
Yeah. At the end, to me.
Okay. I wasn't trying to be hostile.
You may not take that.
Okay.
You said it very nice, because you just have a nice voice, but it was just very you gave me a compliment, and then it was just I'm not going to accept this. I don't expect you to change, and whatever.
Okay, fair enough.
But I'm just saying, something I've learned in our relationship is the way I may say it.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So be mindful of that as well. So I hope that this was helpful, Melvin. You got to email us back with an update and let us know how that conversation went. Hopefully your fiance isn't like, who the hell are you doing listening to these people? Or if she even knows or whatever. And, again, congratulations on your nuptials.
Super congratulations. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
But as my wife said multiple times, it doesn't change. So if you're having problems now, it's not going to change when you get married. So make sure y'all talk everything out so y'all can go into it fresh.
Yes. Start the process of talking things out in a respectful manner now. I mean, clearly for the last 10 years, but especially when you go into marriage. Because marriage does...
I feel like that was kind of shady. Be great. Be great.
I mean, listen. So...
Melvin, thank you.
Yes, Melvin. Please let us know how it goes. And thanks for listening. And tell people to listen too. So, yeah. If you, for some reason, want me and TJ's advice on something, continue to email. Huh?
If for some reason.
Well, yeah, if they have different reasons. Like,
that's terrible.
Okay. If you're seeking the advice of a seasoned married couple.
That sounds a little bit better. But
okay, okay. If you have a question, don't hesitate. Shoot off that email. Send it to loversquarrelshow@gmail.com. And TJ and I will gladly read over it. And you might end up on the show. And give you our advice. And hopefully you'll take it. Okay, it wasn't trying to...
When you have a question, you send that to us.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't trying to make it seem like it was an option. No, you have to send us a question.
It's not that you have to. It's like... when you have it, like instead of saying if you have it.
Okay, so when you have a question that you might want to ask us,
retail, so that's why.
Ask it.
You never worked retail, so
I have worked retail.
No, well, you must not have been a good seller.
Actually,
you're not supposed to be like, well, if you want this product, come here.
Okay, maybe I worked retail. I didn't like it, so maybe I didn't do well.
You sucked.
I didn't suck. I don't suck at anything I do, but Oh. Are we taking shots?
That wasn't a shot.
No, that's a shot. That's a nonverbal shot.
No.
Stand in your truth.
I'm always in my truth. Don't do that.
So what you mean?
You just said that you don't suck at your jobs. You mean like professional jobs, or you just mean like in life, like in the things you do?
Don't get me wrong. I have peaks and valleys, but I'm never just bad at something.
Okay.
I have peaks and valleys, my nigga.
Okay.
Are you trying to say, what if I plateaued at?
You're not good at video games?
Oh my God. Actually,
no.
Yeah, technically,
no.
You can't, I'm not bad at all video games. I'm not good at all video games, but I'm good at the ones that require thought.
Okay. So, if I was to give you 2K, you would suck. Yes or no?
Initially, but I would get better.
Would you suck?
Initially, but who starts out being good at it? Like the first time you ever played a basketball video game, you telling me you were perfect?
Buckets.
Whatever.
Buckets.
We're moving on.
Anyway.
Yes. Email us at loversquarrelshow@gmail.com when you have a question.
That sounds better.
And now, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm gonna knock you out.
Okay.
Mama said knock you out. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out.
I'm guessing this is for the quarrel.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Oh.
We got some raps in it.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, that's
all right.
Probably a good segue into our lovers' quarrel this week.
Mm-hmm.
We had a huge fight last week going up to New York on the man of the hour.
Yep.
Kanye West, a.k.a. Gay, a.k.a. Kanye, a.k.a. Yeezus.
Kanye Kardashian of the House of Calabasas.
The real Kim Gay. Anyway, so we had a nice little quarrel of it, you know. My wife was upset, frustrated.
I was passionate.
Angry.
Yes.
Kanye was canceled. Fuck Kanye. He's dead. He's dead.
I didn't say fuck Kanye. I did say he's canceled.
I mean, you did, but excuse me. Let me just go ahead and be extra. You know, I was like, listen. Charlamagne said, "Is an episode coming out? I mean,
interview.
An interview coming out?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta hear an interview first. I just want to be able to hear it so I can understand where he's coming from."
Okay.
And Dani thought I was crazy. My father thought I was crazy. Why do you want to hear?
when he said he supported Trump, that's what I was like, yeah, I don't really need nothing really else. Trump is not my brother. Trump is not anyone's brother.
So then the interview drops, and I'm listening. I'm like, okay, I didn't really get what I thought. I mean, it's kind of more of what I expected. Mm-hmm. And then after the interview, he goes to TMZ, and he's, talking to the people. He discloses he had liposuction, which is very vain. It's very weird because, like his mother passed away from like the vanity.
That's true.
So it's like
that feels very Kardashian. Like that feels very like some Kim was in his ear. Like, babe, you can just
they can just suck it out.
Talk.
It's okay.
It's an outpatient procedure.
So with that, so he did that, and then he said that slavery was a choice. We've been enslaved for 400 years, and the time. I mean, we haven't been slaves for 400 years, so that doesn't make sense. And then the fact that it hasn't been like 400 years
since slavery ended. Yeah, is that what you're saying?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. We haven't been.
I thought you said like slavery didn't last 400 years.
No, I'm saying that it hasn't. We haven't been enslaved for 400 years.
I'm confused.
400 years from now.
Yes.
Like, you can't say we were enslaved 400 years for the last 400 years.
Oh, saying like because we weren't
slaves in 1963.
Okay, so
in 88 we weren't. 30 years ago we weren't slaves.
Yeah, okay.
So you can't say that for 400 years. You can say in the past we were enslaved and it was a choice, but you can't say for the last 400 years we've been slaves.
I don't think he was saying like for the like in the last 400 years. I think he was saying for 400 years. So like slavery ended in 1863, somewhere around then. That's when the Emancipation Proclamation and all that happened.
Then, I mean, people still.
You're right, but let's say for history books, textbook sake,
around then. Double check that, even though I will check it for myself.
But for 400 years prior to that, like from that point back, was slavery. He wasn't saying in the last 400 years. I think you're kind of like splitting hairs.
So quoted it. It's okay. Okay. You definitely looked at me like I was crazy.
Because I was not picking up what you were putting down.
We've been slaves for forever.
Slavery did last a very long time.
Slavery, racism,
Jim Crow,
all of that is combined in me. Like, But okay, so he said slavery was a choice, and now the outcry was crazy. Kanye was super canceled. They came out with people had like memes and tweets and
Black Twitter
and the internet went ham.
It's undefeated.
Hilarious. Which is kind of funny because like we can joke about that. Anyway.
Because we learned to laugh at our pain.
Okay. But I'm just saying, like, if it's going to be a serious moment, it should be serious regardless. I'm just saying, that's just my that's my opinion.
That's your opinion. I disagree.
My opinion is just, you can't pick and choose when it's okay to laugh about the slavery. Like, if we're going to be in an uproar about it, be in an uproar about it regardless.
And people aren't laughing at slavery. People are laughing at Kanye's comment.
Yes, based off of slavery.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
And maybe I'm just being a stickler right now, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But, so, we decided to have this quarrel. So we can hash this out.
I don't think you and I are going to come to any type of like agreement,
but
we can let
and that's okay.
But the listeners can tell us.
I don't want you to divorce me.
I'm not going to divorce you, but I also feel like
your voice was kind of divorce-ish.
No, because what frustrated me about our argument on the ride up was
talk to me.
There are certain situations, there are certain people, there are certain contexts that call for a deeper dive into what a person meant or what else is going on or whatever. Like context is very, very key in many, many, many situations.
Okay.
And with Kanye's comments in the last couple of weeks, up until he said the Trump stuff, I would say we could put some context to it because it's not the first time that Kanye has said some like outlandish shit and people have kind of been like, oh, like, I don't know, or whatever. But, has gone on his rants and stuff when he was talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce, when he's doing whatever. But,
go ahead.
But at the same time, like, when you talk about Trump is my brother, We are both dragon energy. We are this. We are that. I don't care. No,
I think it was the philosophical. Yay.
He's fake deep.
I think that was a philosophical.
I don't think he knows.
Yay.
I don't think he means any of what. I don't necessarily he doesn't mean what he says. I think he's talking in fucking circles.
I think he's talking in Kanye. I think the difference is, it's not what people want.
Like, no, it's not what. It's not even what people.
It's not. It doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't make sense. He's talking in circles. He's talking in circles and trying to pass it off as like, I'm free thinking. I'm just thinking ahead. He said in an interview, like, I'm speaking, like almost like he implied that like he's speaking, you know, like he's speaking how people are going to think in 2030. But how do you like translate that back in 2018 for people? No, you're not speaking in like, you're not like a visionary in the sense that you're like ahead of your time in your philosophical thought. Have you been ahead of your time musically as a creative genius in that area? Absolutely, because the proof has been in the pudding. But the proof is not in the pudding right here. And don't try to insult my intelligence by making me feel like, I'm just not, my mind is not free enough to understand and wrap my head around the gems that Kanye is dropping. Kanye is talking in circles. Kanye is on some kumbaya BS, and that's not the world that we live. Huh?
I think it's a lot of layers.
It absolutely is a lot of layers. But go ahead.
I think, I still don't think he's dealt with his mother's death.
He hasn't, but how much longer, like...
If you never deal with it, you never deal with it. If you never deal with it, you go through this. And go ahead. He came out with the album 808 Heartbreaks, but I don't think that was him dealing with it. And I think that would be like that kind of was like a different album. Mm-hmm. It kind of changed the landscape. I think in his darkest moment, he became bigger, and I think the fandom, the love for Kanye became so big that mentally it affects him.
I think there's a lot.
And one thing he did say in the interview, sorry, I'm not trying to cut you off, but one thing he said in the interview was that, he's taking medicines. He's taking medicines. He alluded to the fact that he's taking medicines for an undisclosed illness. He won't tell us what it is. But that made me think okay, so if he has a mental illness, he may really believe what he's saying.
He may very well believe what he's saying, and I don't take that away from him that he might believe what he's saying, but I feel like because he's talking in circles, because he's saying things that are just to the contrary, seemingly for the sake of being a contrarian, then what that means is that that's his truth, that's his essence that he's living in, but that does not then mean that I still have to support him. 100%. And that doesn't mean that I have to give him my money. I don't have to.
We all have opinions.
We do have opinions, and even though those are his opinions can still be wrong.
100%.
And so him supporting Trump, taking that picture with that "Make America Great Again" hat on, and then showing that he got Donald Trump's signature, and he's saying he's trying to take the power away from those symbols and this or whatever. You are not.
And the thing is, he's telling people that. He's continuing that belief.
But it's not working. It's not working
for you. But
who is it working for? Is it working for you?
It's not.
Are you going to wear a MAGA hat tomorrow?
No.
Okay, then. So it's not working because it doesn't take one person, as much as he might think of himself, and I know he said he lost his confidence and he got his, as much as he might think of himself, he's not a one-person culture shift. He has musically. But this is not his realm. This is not his domain.
And clothing.
Yeezys. The rest of the stuff he puts out is fucking trash.
But people are buying
It's homeless chic. That's like the emperor. It's the emperor's new clothes. Like everybody's like, Ye is in those studios with those in those fashion houses, and he's putting people in holy champion sweatshirts that you can get from Costco, mm-hmm. and people are like, because nobody wants to tell him, this shit is ugly. Nope. It's ugly.
I think people are telling him, but he's Kanye. He doesn't.
I don't think anybody in those because I'm still following him on Twitter, right? Because and I see.
Wait, you're following him?
I had followed him from before, but I've been following him to kind of keep up with this because I knew.
You got to cancel him.
But I'm also saying I knew we were going to talk about this, so I was trying to so I could build my case.
Okay.
So I'm watching some of these clips that he's doing with like the models are trying on different things, and they're just walking around in the stuff that if I walked out the house, they would be like, somebody would give me spare change because they would think that I was homeless.
If you wore that right now, they'd be like, yo, she got the Yeezy.
No, but not today, not the day we're recording. They'd be like, because we've seen people cut up their Yeezy stuff. Shout out to Weezy. But the point I'm trying to make is that he's not. When people, if you want to go take the mental illness route, even though people who have mental health issues don't all go off the deep end with their thinking or whatever, 100%. But what he's saying and like is, he's just spewing all this stuff out, and nobody closest to him has the heart, or at least maybe I wouldn't say has the heart, has been successful in telling him like, yo, you need to really like reel this in.
They may have told him.
I mean, you see, John Legend did, and I don't know how close they are, and he put that out, and I felt like that was wrong.
He fired Scooter because he said no one can control him. Mm-hmm. So I think is that. If you ask my father, he's gonna say it's the Kardashians.
I think there's a definite influence there.
You know,
I think there's a definite influence there. I think that there's a level of like, say what you will about, we don't know them, we don't know what goes on behind people's closed doors or whatever, but there is a clear pattern of men. Well, yeah, but there's a clear pattern of men who enter the lives of that family, and they don't. But even he has his own issues, his demons and stuff like that.
No, Scott probably had his own issues before them.
But he does take it to them.
Scott tells them
he eats the shit out of them. It's hilarious.
He be firing them up.
But the point is, I'm trying to make is that like, men come in that family one way and they leave another. But Kanye is so committed to Kim, I guess, or I don't know, because she was a goal, she was a fantasy realized. I don't, and that's what it boils down to. Yeah. But nobody's telling him that like, yo, you really need to like reel this in, or maybe you like he said he even if he's taking medicine for whatever undisclosed mental illness he might have or whatever illness he might have. He said in the beginning of the interview that he still does not go to a formal certified therapist. He's like, oh, I'll talk to whoever, whatever. I don't care. You can talk to me as your wife for 45 minutes about everything that's going on. I can tell you what I think you should hear, or what you want to hear, depending on to the best of my ability. But I am not a trained health professional, and I have my own bias. I have my own bias that is included in what I'm saying to you, because I'm your wife, so I'm worried about you because you're my husband. I'm also, things that happen to you directly and indirectly impact me, impact Tatum. So I have to think about things through that lens. And so as your friends, your family. So he's saying he's talking to all these people when he needs something from them. But my thing is, this is like, how are you sure that the people that you're talking to are telling you what you really need to hear, or are really have your best interests at heart? So the fact that he's not talking to a trained mental health care professional bothers me. Huh?
He also said he don't trust nobody.
Exactly. And that's the sign of a person who's clearly not stable. Saying it all to say, I'm real quick go back to that. You can't convince me otherwise that the clothes that he puts out are trash, and that the only reason why you would wear something besides the I don't own a pair of Yeezys, but I at the same time
they're hard as shit to get.
Yeah, but aside from those, which I guess they might be on free 99. But like, you're telling me you would walk out the house and something that he would have on. He had the freaking, the shoe display in a woman's department store. No. He added a heel to it and is calling that a shoe.
I mean, listen.
Like, somebody's lying to him. A lot of people are.
So let me play devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. If that was
Beyonce,
a Caucasian person doing the same thing he's doing and called it fashion, will we be in the same uproar?
Like if somebody was doing the exact same thing.
Not Kanye West. Tom Ford came out with the same exact thing. Would we be like?
I would say the same thing. Okay. I think trash is trash. You don't slap a label on some Costco sweatpants and talk about this is avant-garde.
They have the Chinese slippers, and then one of the top brand designers came out with the same thing, and people were like buying them because they were designer now.
And they did it for do-rags. They do it for all that. It's cultural appropriation. It happens all the time.
So my thing is, what if Kanye's doing that because he knows that?
I think that that's selfish.
Buy it, He knows that they're gonna buy it. So let me.
I think that's abuse of his.
The people,
I think
the
he's
fashion
abusing.
people are gonna buy it, so I'm doing it for the fashion people.
But no, but his fans are gonna buy that stuff, and that's abuse. That's an abuse of your influence. That's saying like I could slap my name on a pile of dog shit, and people are gonna buy it because it says Kanye on it, and that's not acceptable.
I mean, it's not acceptable, but how many people really do it for their fans?
I really don't know.
Stephon Marbury may be the only person I know who's like, I'm coming out with affordable clothing for my people. And people laughed at it. I actually bought some Starberry stuff.
I remember.
And I bought it just because I thought it was dope.
Yeah.
I thought it was different. Fuck it. The sneakers were terrible and they didn't make my size. So I was good. But I had the hoodies. I had sweatpants. But we're so conditioned to, you know what I mean? Like, no one really helps their own.
I understand.
There's people dying over Jordans and over these top sneakers. Mm-hmm. And they cost like $30 to make.
And that's a whole nother issue.
I'm just saying he shouldn't be the only person that we come at.
He's not.
For his clothing. But
to get back to the topic, yeah, like it was fake deep. So this book of philosophy that he's
coming out with a book. You don't care.
No.
You don't care.
At all. Because you're going to tell me to love everybody, even the people who want to see me and my people marginalized. You want to tell me to extend my hand to people who have been, who are proven to be sexual assaulters, who have been accused of horrible things, who have literally been, are steeped in racism, homophobia, transphobia.
Love. Huh? I think you chose the wrong person to say as an example.
I think and my thing is, but at the same time, I'm not going to excuse it. You make the wrong choice. Listen, that's on you. But my thing, and I don't think he made a wrong choice. I think he does believe in some weird way what he says, and there's consequences for things that you say.
He can believe that, but if you're trying to bring home a message, it has to be strategic.
And he's not.
Everything that like Rosa Parks sitting where she sat, that was strategic.
Yeah, I know.
Granted, she was like, fuck this, I'm not going to back. But everything was strategic. MLK doing the stuff he did, strategic. Everything, you have to have a plan. You can't just do it just to do it.
Okay, and you're saying that Kanye doesn't have a plan?
No, he doesn't. He's just throwing shit at the wall and
see what sticks.
Or he's so used to it.
Including these sound bites that he's spewing off, like, you know, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he's just throwing shit at the wall, seeing what's going to stick. And people be like, oh, like, you know, Charlamagne, sometimes he was like, that's a bar, this, that, and I'm like, yeah, but no, like, it's just, because my thing is this, is that you can't sit there and throw the whole kitchen sink at me and then be like, oh, and then I'm supposed to be like, oh yeah, you really, really dropped some knowledge. You, like you said, you need to be strategic. You need to be specific about your message. He's not even clear on his own message. And then, so the things that he's saying, if he's just putting his foot in his mouth, or if he truly, truly believes everything that's come out of his mouth, then I have no reason to have to spend or patronize or support anything that has to do with him, because why does he deserve any more of my money?
Even with a slavery quote, he misspoke, I feel. And some people may kill me for that, and may not believe me or whatever. I feel like he misspoke, and that's why he came out with the tweets to say, I think he was saying, like, our minds are enslaved, but he was saying 400 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he put it all together.
He's a super hotep.
But, what?
He's a super hotep.
Who the hell is hotep?
Hotep. Like, a hotep is one of them guys that, you know, walk around spewing fake deep quotes and talking about, you know.
People on 125th Street? Pretty
much, minus the swords and stuff like that. You know, talking about, like, you know, they're all for black empowerment, but they think that, like, women should be, like, seen and not heard, or that they you know, I don't know, like, that they think that, like, 9/11 was a conspiracy, stuff like that. Like, they're just, like, they have all these different theories and things like that. And, like, there's some on Facebook that I've had to mute, and it's just like you can't, like, miss me with the fake deep. The government's always after us. It's the white
conspiracy theorist people.
Like
I don't like those.
Something like that. They're like they're the hoteps, but then they also kind of have like but then at the same time like they're all about like quote unquote black power and empowerment, but then like there's like still sprinkled with like misogyny and sexism and like dumb conspiracy theories, and those are like hoteps, and that's what King Kanye of the hoteps is what I feel like, because he's just throwing stuff and seeing what's gonna stick. And then anybody can sound eloquent when they like speaking in tongues. Basically, from time to time you might say something and somebody goes, oh yeah, I get that. But he can miss me with all of that. He can miss me with this acting out of love. I want everybody to be on some kumbaya nonsense or whatever, because that's not the world that we live in. And as much as, and he can afford, he has like Van Lathan said, he's earned his right. He's worked, he's paid his dues.
Shout out to Van Lathan.
Yeah,
Van Lathan
articulated it beautifully, what so many of us are feeling, and had the testicular fortitude to step up and say something to Kanye West, because everybody wouldn't have. Most people would not have, because he was like, I don't even, and then the thing.
So do you think he would have not said something had Kanye not asked? Just asking.
Well, I feel like the way it was edited, I feel like there had to have been some type of exchange prior to that, because why would Kanye start talking to him to begin with when he was like, are you feeling what I'm saying?
I don't think he was talking to him. I think he was saying to everyone. I think he was at TMZ, and I think he was saying to everyone, and then Van was like, well...
Maybe it seemed like he was talking. It seemed like he was talking like across the room to Van, and then Van looked at him and was like, "Actually, I don't think you're thinking at all." Is how it kind of looked from my understanding, but I mean, we don't know how it's edited. But
I have to reach out to Van.
Van, absolutely. So Van, let me back up. Kanye is not well mentally.
I can agree with that.
That does not excuse Kanye from not choosing his words wisely. Words mean things. You have to say what you mean. And when you don't, there are consequences for those actions. And
so what if he comes back out a year later, like, listen, I was tripping. I was on a whole nother level. Does he get the forgiveness?
I think it depends on how how remorseful he is. I want to say, is it like contrition? Like if he's saying like, okay, I want to be, if he comes 365 days from now, he's like, you guys, I wasn't in the right space. I started seeking a health professional, or even if he doesn't have to share all of that with us, but he's like, I was wrong. I'm doing the things, and the proof is in the pudding again. His actions speak louder than his words. Then maybe he can, be joined back in the fold. But there is nothing wrong with people who were fans of him, some people who looked up to him, saying, I got to fall back on you because you're spewing rhetoric that I cannot support. Because there comes a point in time where, there's a place in time where you could be like, I could separate the art from the artist. I could say, I don't like this person's political views, or I don't like this person's approach to this topic, but at the same time they make really, really good music, because that's their opinion. But when you are, as the artist, are telling me that you are aligning yourself with, or you support someone who is homophobic, racist, transphobic, misogynistic, a sexual predator, all of these things, I don't care what level. I don't care if you don't pay attention to any of his politics. Everything I just said has nothing to do with Donald Trump's politics. It has to do with Donald Trump as a person. And if you're telling me on any level that you support him, that you see something that you have in common with him, that he's your brother, quote unquote, I have nothing for you. I have nothing for you. And he has not backtracked on that statement. He's cleaned up that slavery statement on Twitter, but he's not moved away from that Trump stuff.
Because I don't think he's saying that he supports Trump's views. I think he's just saying Trump is my brother.
But no one should support no one in their right mind.
We're all brothers and sisters in Christ.
No person that is of a solid moral background would support Trump as a person or as a politician. He is a horrible human being. Period. So you support him, I have nothing for you. You voted for him, I have really nothing for you.
Well, I voted for him.
You a damn lie.
White power.
People have divorced over that stuff. People have not spoken to the relatives, close loved ones over that stuff since the 2016 election. But I'm also say this.
Go ahead, because you're
I know. I'm on one right now.
See, and this is why this is the quarrel, because you were so adamant about it.
Because like this, here's.
Just tag me in.
I got you. I'm gonna go through my little list and then we can go from here. Here's a because I'm prepared.
Go ahead, be great.
Here's a little gem that I said it was his fake deep BS. He said at one point during the interview, he goes, "Even if they try to kill you, that doesn't mean they're your enemy." Yeah. Fake deep.
How's that fake deep?
That's fake deep. Like, if somebody murders you,
if they try to kill you,
that doesn't mean that they're your enemy.
No, it's not personal. It's business. You never heard of that before?
Yes, I've heard of that before. Then. So just because, oh my God. But like, do you see how you say something like that? Like you're trying to like class it up or whatever, where you're trying to make it something. I'm not saying you.
Oh, you're saying it's fake.
It's like a fake deep. It's a sound bite. It's like just because even if they try to kill you, it doesn't mean that they're your enemy. It's some like bogus Confucianism bullshit. It's dumb. Then, like I said, I already told you he reminds me of the Emperor No Clothes because people will not tell him that his stuff is trash. But then my question is this: I asked myself, I was like, you know what? If he is mentally ill, we know people who have struggled with mental illness who, like, how do you make a grown person? How do you make somebody who is, in the eyes of the law, grown, take their medicine? Like, they're not a child. So now you add on top of that, how do you make a rich, famous celebrity who's got mental illness take their medicine or speak to a health professional? It's hard to. It's absolutely hard to.
Well, I mean, it takes family. You have to want to do that stuff. There's no way to force them.
It is, and maybe that's the thing. Maybe everybody is trying, but at the same time,
but maybe they're not trying the right way. Maybe they're not. I mean, again, like you said, they're not professionals. They're trying in their own way.
Yeah, but I mean, he has to want it. But, and I thought, the other thing I'll say this is like two things. If he's misquoting himself, if he's misspeaking, this is all the reason why he needs to shut up and he needs to think before he speaks.
Like you said, you can't tell a grown man. Like, my issue with that is he's always been misquoting and saying whatever he wanted, and it was always okay. When he said George Bush doesn't like black people, that was okay. Mm-hmm. Because of the time.
Because it was an accurate statement at the time.
That was an opinion.
It was an opinion, but
because
there was evidence to support his opinion.
Same people you ask, if you ask them today, who would they rather have, Bush or Trump? They're going to say Bush.
Of course.
Everybody look back at Bush now and be like, you know what? Bush wasn't that bad now.
Yeah. He was absolutely the lesser of two evils.
So, saying that to say, like, when Kanye was doing that before, those people who didn't have a problem with him making these outrageous statements and being misquoted or just saying whatever, they are partly to blame. Mm-hmm. Y'all fed the beast.
Okay.
Y'all allowed it to be acceptable for him to say what's on his mind, no matter how offensive or how crazy it was. It was cool. It was funny. He was for the people. All this other stuff.
And now that he's not speaking for the people have a problem with it.
Yeah, but my thing is, you can't get mad at Frankenstein. You built Frankenstein.
Okay, I get what you're saying as far as like people tolerating his outspoken commentary. That part I can understand, but
I mean, what he said is wrong.
It's wrong, and so therefore,
I'm not taking away from that. Mm-hmm. I'm saying what he said is 100% wrong. Mm-hmm. But what I am also saying is, it shouldn't be a surprise. It shouldn't be a shock that he can say something so outrageous because he's always been outrageous. Everyone has loved Kanye for being outrageous.
Absolutely, but now he's taking it too far. And now there could be consequences.
People are saying it's too far. It's kind of like a comedian. You love this comedian. He's so funny, and when he talks about his topics, it's so funny until the topic is about you. Now he's not funny. Mm-hmm. Now there's an issue. That's my problem. My other problem is that we put these celebrities on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. They're people just like we are. They don't make mistakes like we do. Difference is they have more fame. They have more money.
Have more influence.
But they shouldn't.
They shouldn't, but they do.
They're not influential leaders.
They shouldn't, but they do. That's the reality that we live in.
I understand that, but that's a bigger problem. There's no reason why these kids are looking up to Kanye. Why these grown men and women love and adore and want to be Kanye.
I understand that.
To me, that's the bigger issue.
I think to me that's a separate issue. It's related, but I don't think in between the two is the bigger issue.
Because the reason I say, well, for me, it's an issue because Kanye can say whatever. Mm-hmm. It doesn't do anything for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I still like his music. That's not gonna stop me from listening to anything in the past.
Are you gonna buy anything new?
I don't buy. Only music I
buy. Are you gonna
listen?
Let me rephrase that. Are you gonna listen to anything new? Because we listened to that one thing on the way up because you held my radio, my music hostage.
So I was driving, so I didn't really hold it hostage.
And you made me listen to it, and like
the beat was fire.
It was a great beat, but then he's trolling us.
Okay.
With that poop diddy scoop boop stuff, and that is where I'm like, is he really even? Does he really know what he's doing or not?
We don't know.
I think for me, my bottom lines are this. It's like he needs to think before he speaks. If you don't think before you speak and you say some stupid shit, you have to be prepared to deal with the consequences
100%.
of it. And there are some things that are irredeemable. Supporting Trump in this day and age is irredeemable for many people, myself included. Saying that slavery was a choice was adding insult to injury, because you are,
for what he used to talk about. Yes, is definitely kind of backwards. Mm-hmm. I feel like he had a song where he talked about his grandmother used to do the sit-ins and stuff like that. So he used to be like a positive thinker, So I can understand people. Being upset about that. Mm-hmm. But again, my takeaway is, and like he can say whatever he wants. Anyone can say whatever they want. What someone else says should never affect you.
It shouldn't, but it does when you're a celebrity and you have that level of influence.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It shouldn't, but it does.
It does for those people who does. Anybody can say anything, and I'm not going to take it for what it is. Period. Mm. He said what he said, and I'm not like, oh shit, this is like the most brilliant thing, or this is the worst thing, and nah. Okay, he said what he said, and like, how's that stopping me from doing my job? How's that stopping me from doing anything?
I understand that, but it also, like, I think it's just a matter of, like,
we give them too much power.
Period. I agree, but at the same time, though, that doesn't negate the fact that in this moment, he's had a finger on the pulse of hip hop for well over a decade at this point, but. Maybe not more recent years, but like if you just think about Kanye from 2000 to the last 20 years, Kanye has been even just musically a major influence, and so his music has gotten people through. His earlier music got people through difficult times. You know, it spoke to them.
The music is different than the person.
The music is different than the person to an extent. But then when you start saying stuff like this, then it's hard for people. People can no longer separate the art from the artist, because continuing to support your art is me saying,
but you support.
I condone what you said.
You support other people who's had stuff. Do you not?
This is where we got into the whole Cosby thing. So. What I said was that when the Cosby Show came on, or when the Different World came on, would I watch it?
You said you would still watch a Different World.
I would still watch a Different World. Wow. He's not on a Different World, but he's executive producer. But I said that I would not watch anything that if he were to put something out now, I would not watch it, because that was before anything going forward. See, but then they took the decision away from me because they took away the Cosby. They took and then
they still come on.
If it does, then I have to see. I'll have to see, but it's not. It's complicated, and it's complicated. It is complicated, but at the same time, though, I'm not perfect. Like I can say what.
No one's perfect.
And
that's what we're learning. Like people are putting the Kanye on a pedestal like he's perfect. Mm-hmm. Again, Kanye the artist versus Kanye the person are two different people.
Yeah, and Kanye keeps walking out onto that platform, that huge platform that he has, and putting his foot in his mouth. So therefore, Bill Cosby, all things considered, as guilty and nasty as he is, he wasn't actively putting himself out there. Mm-hmm. It's saying like this is what I'm doing and this is why, and like and he wasn't. So
no, he wasn't. I'll give you that. But again, so Michael Jackson, he was an alleged pedophile. Mm-hmm. People still love him. Mm-hmm. Like that's kind of my.
Michael Jackson would have been canceled if this all happened in 2018. Michael Jackson had the luxury of living of this stuff, of being born in and living in and performing in a time where social media was not as prevalent and like the average person couldn't be a fact finder and find this stuff.
R&B, old school rappers, they engaged in domestic violence, rape culture, but people still love them. So that's my point.
You got a long way to go.
That's kind of my other point. Again, you have to differentiate people for what they do. Mm-hmm. TJ is different at work than he is at home. Mm-hmm. TJ is different. Like, if I'm out with my guys, I'm different than when I'm out with my family. Like, but who I am if I do something when I'm out with my family, it doesn't mean that's who I am all the time. Mm-hmm. So, again, Kanye, the artist, has nothing to do. Now, if he comes out with a song and he's like, I love Trump and all other stuff, then yes. Now,
so people don't have to stop listening to his music. Now, I'm saying, I mean, we can't tell people what to do, but like, you don't agree with people stopping listening to his music because of what he's said and done in the last couple of weeks.
You have a free choice to do whatever you want.
Do you think he's wrong?
I think who's wrong?
Kanye.
The slavery statement, 100%. Mm-hmm. The Trump situation, personally, I mean, I don't care enough. I don't care enough to say if he's. I don't think he's wrong for saying what he said because that's his opinion.
Don't you think that it's divisive? Don't you think that it's?
I can understand that.
Don't you think
yes.
it's upsetting to his base?
It's very ambiguous, and he didn't go much into it, and that's why I wanted to see the documentary. I wanted to hear him say, "I like Trump because of this."
So what was his main reason for liking him?
Huh?
What was his main reason for liking him?
I don't remember him really going into it. Like I said, Kanye was all over the place. He never really answered it. He didn't really say he didn't say a policy. He was all over the place. Like he talked about why he didn't like Obama,
which was a dumbass reason.
And then he kind of talked about the Jay-Z and Beyonce situation, but it's also like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he talked about how Jay talked about the $20 million, and he was like, well, he didn't sign it for me. But then he was like, he did sign it for me. So again, contradictory. He's just all over the place.
And that's probably why Jay is loving him from afar, because he's like, I can't invite you into my life.
Beyonce's like, fuck no.
Absolutely. You're not coming around me and Blue and my twins. Nope.
Fuck no.
Because when you can't, he's erratic in thought, and he's erratic in behavior and in honestly, some ways.
That may make even more sense.
What?
That Jay-Z probably seen that and was just like,
I gotta back away.
I have to back away. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I don't want to put your business out there. I don't want to say, listen, he can't come around my kids because he has mental issues, and I have to think about the welfare of my children. Kids. You know what I mean?
I get that, but I think that ultimately.
But is he wrong? Yes.
Yeah, because and I think we should say, okay,
without a doubt, 100%.
Does he? And he deserves to be canceled for that?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll agree with that.
Okay.
Anything going forward, listen, Through the Wire got me through some times.
I understand.
You know what I mean?
Hey Mama, it was your mother-son song.
Yeah, Hey Mama was my mother's son song.
Listen, don't you think I know how you feel?
So, saying that...
Can't tell me nothing?
Can't tell me nothing. I mean, listen, he's made great music. He's done great things. My biggest takeaway that I want people to take from this is stop putting them on pedestals. Period.
And my biggest takeaway that I want people to get from this is that it is okay to walk away from somebody.
100%.
It's okay to walk away, and you don't have to spend your money on somebody who even if their art is great, that the artist is trash.
Well, I don't pay, like I said, unless it's Drake, I'm not spending no money.
Yeah. But it's still like, if it's opting to listen, it's opting to stream, it's kind 100%. Of feeding, it's buying the clothes, it's things like that. Like, you have to be.
So I can't come in the house with some Yeezys.
No.
Some 350s.
No, they're not even like they're not even all of that.
Fire.
The sneakers, they're just to me.
I mean, listen.
I'm not saying I have the best taste in shoes, obviously, but
I have big feet, right? So if someone makes my size, it's kind of like I got to take what I can take. Mm-hmm. But I'm not gonna kill myself over it. I'm not gonna overpay for sneakers. Not at all.
I'm not gonna.
Not at all. So
I'm not overpaying for, haute couture homeless. That's it. But Ye was wrong. Van Lathan is the guy for all
He was wrong for the slavery quote. I don't think he's wrong for saying that he
finds Trump to hate his brother. He's even more wrong for that.
I don't think he is.
I would almost say that the slavery comment was, even though it was, if it was misquoted or he wasn't speaking in the proper context.
Way worse than saying he liked Trump. Stop it.
No, what I'm saying is that but think about it though, like because it's the slavery comment. Even if he's backpedaling and trying to do damage control, he was talking about, I'm talking about slavery of the mind, and I'm talking about the Willie Lynch letter, all that stuff like that. But the Trump stuff, like,
people like Trump.
People like
and
Trump,
those people who
and
like
people
him
who like Trump there's something wrong with them.
Everything else.
There's something wrong with people who like Trump.
I get that, but to say that he's wrong for having his opinion, I don't agree with that.
Opinions can be wrong. You said that at the beginning of this argument.
No, what I'm trying to say is that I'm not going to cancel him for him saying he likes Trump.
Oh, I will.
That's you.
You're right.
Because you feel that strongly about that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Him saying the slavery thing, yes, it's trying to take away the power. It's kind of like when that textbook came out and it said that slavery were migrant workers.
Mm-hmm.
They migrated. That's a problem. That was a textbook in school, and that's what they're teaching kids in school.
And think about how many people who...
Go ahead.
Sorry.
You're cutting me off.
I apologize. Go ahead.
And then there was the homework that came out, and it was like, name 3 positives to slavery.
Kanye would have answered it.
Huh?
Kanye probably would have answered that question.
And then we still have these like police officers shooting and unarmed black men, shooting unarmed black men, and black men being arrested for entering places. So the remnants, is that the right word? Remnants of slavery still there.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to act like, oh no, it's not there, or
it was all in people's head.
It's all in your mind. No, because when I drive my car,
mm-hmm.
and the police stop me, in my mind I'm like, is this my day?
Mm-hmm.
That's my reality. My reality is I have to ask that. I have to wonder, is my car considered too nice for a black man to be driving?
Mm-hmm.
How am I dressed? Is my hoodie on my head?
Mm-hmm.
Can I grab my hoodie off my head?
Yeah, no sudden movements. And
I think to keep my hands up.
Yeah.
So for me, the slavery comment, yes, that made me say Kanye it's fucking bugging.
Mm-hmm.
Him saying he likes Trump, I don't care enough about it, because you know what? They said that you're supposed to keep, your
friends close and your enemies closer.
No, the separation of
church and state.
So your politics is your politics, even though you're telling me it. That doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do something that can make an officer say, well, Kanye said slavery's on the mind, we can continue this. We can go ham now.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have a problem.
So, I mean, I think ultimately for me, my biggest things are like, miss me with the fake deep soundbite quotes. Think before you speak. Deal with the consequences of your actions, and your consequences of your actions and your words. And as long as Kanye remains uninformed and not totally under the professional care of somebody who really loves him, then he's canceled, and he needs to continue to be canceled. And quite honestly, I think what I hope happens is that, I'm not trying to wish that he doesn't have taking food off the proverbial table, but
they got money. That's not.
I wish that but I do wish that he would see there would be some type of tangible impact of his words that might wake him up. But I don't know. I just know that he's canceled till further notice. And
so who else was canceled? I just want to know.
Who else is canceled?
Yeah.
R. Kelly is canceled.
Is Nas canceled?
Is Nas canceled? I mean, I can't. So
canceled?
what I say? I think I would say Fab is pretty canceled. Nas, I can't. I'm not saying Nas is not. What I'm saying though is that I'm somebody who I can say he's canceled, but I never listened to Nas's music like that to begin with. So it wouldn't be genuine if I said that. Now, is Bill Cosby canceled? Yes. Is R. Kelly canceled? Yes. Is Kanye canceled? Yes.
I mean, I never liked Bill Cosby anyway.
Well, I like the Cosby Show. I'm talking, and even still, I'm not talking about. I never listened to or heard Bill Cosby's stand up or know his records and stuff like that. I've only ever known the Cosby Show and A Different World. Like that's been like,
So I got you.
So I think that's like the main thing, and it's just like it might seem like everybody's trying to cancel somebody left and right, whatever. But it's like no, we just live in a time where now people are being held accountable for their words and their actions. And
R. Kelly's not canceled for me, but
R. Kelly is a child molester. How are you not going to cancel him?
I mean, listen, I would never quarrel for another day.
R. Kelly's canceled. More irredeemably so.
You don't like R. Kelly anyway, so it don't matter.
I like R. Kelly songs, but at the same time, I'm not going to continue to support somebody, and that's why people are canceling him. His shows are literally being canceled. You have to hit people where it hurts. You have to hit them in their pockets because that's not.
But see, this situation is going to go into another thing. Because we live in a society where now people are they're like witch hunting. They're looking for things to be able to.
Is it witch hunting or just stones that were formerly unturned going, foot turned over, and now these people that were hiding out in the dark are coming to the light?
He went to trial. For the
Aaliyah?
The sex tape.
Oh yeah, the sex tape, duh.
And he wasn't found guilty. And then someone said whatever. Go ahead.
You think being found not guilty in a court of law automatically means innocent? Because there's a major difference between not guilty and innocent.
I'm not saying it is, but I am saying that if you are. I'm trying to put the words. If you're going to say that he's a child molester, my thing is, where's the proof?
The fact that he married Aaliyah. She was 15 years old. That makes him a child molester. She was a child. He was 30-something years old.
Other countries are child molesters.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure you have the same energy. I know how you do. You be picking and choosing something.
No, I'm not picking. When it comes to that, I'm not picking and choosing. You have
the same energy, regardless.
Child brides, I don't care what culture it in, is not all right because you're talking about young women and women who are not developmentally.
As long as you have the same energy, I'm with you. We are.
But R. Kelly is canceled. Kanye West is canceled until further notice. I blame the death of his mother, and I blame Kim Kardashian because I'm sure, like I said in our text message to you, I was like, she was probably whispering sweet nothings into his ear, talking about, oh, everybody can do whatever they want, as long as they, try.
She's probably like, you're Kanye.
Like, you can do whatever. Like, look at me. I turned nothing into something. I'll give you my plastic surgeon's number.
You're terrible.
I'm not terrible. He's terrible.
Anyway.
Well, listen, we could go on and on and on about this, but
know you can. Rappington.
Whatever. I feel passionately about this. Kanye's whack for what he did. You were still trying to hear him out, and sometimes you don't need to hear somebody out. Sometimes you just got to be like, you know what? I'm good.
Period. You shouldn't make a decision just because it's not something that you're traditionally not used to. With
the exception of supporting Trump. In my opinion, I agree with you, but I have a little asterisk, and it's like,
so if you bang with Trump, if Tatum said Trump was my favorite president, you're disowning her. That's what you're saying.
If you're saying that Trump, if she lived through, let me
go ahead. I'm listening. The context. If Tatum in 20 years put out a tweet and says Trump was my favorite president, leave it at that.
I'm cursing her out.
You're canceling her right then and there.
I'm cursing her out.
So you're not going to ask no questions. You're just going to curse her out.
Yes. I'm going to curse her out because there's no reason that she would say that that was her favorite president. I can't cancel my own child to the certain extent.
She could have done her research and she could have liked whatever he said.
Then I did something wrong.
My point is, you have to ask the questions. It's okay to ask questions.
It's okay to ask.
We live in a world where people feel like if someone says something, don't ask no questions, just jump into conclusions, and that's the problem. That is. And
there's certain statements that I feel like I don't really need to hear much else.
Preference for presidency isn't one of those statements.
Up until this election, you were right.
Okay, I don't agree with that.
Every election leading up to this, your preference of a president is up to you. But supporting someone as vehemently horrible as him,
well, he got voted in.
Yeah, and there's a lot wrong with a lot of people.
He got voted in.
It was white women's fault. We get that.
But he was voted in.
I'm not taking that away.
That's all I'm going with.
But I don't have to associate myself with those people.
You don't. But I'm the type of person who I want to understand. You don't want to understand.
I do want to understand.
Someone can tell you whatever, and as long as you don't like it, you're going to be like, oh.
In this situation.
No.
Not everyone, but it's context matters. But in this situation,
in certain contexts, if there's something that you do not agree with, if someone says something that you do not agree with, you're cutting them off. You're not listening. You're not going to try to figure it out because no, that's what you said. Dude.
What I said was when it comes to Trump.
No.
I'm willing to listen. I'm not going to shut somebody out.
You said we can listen to this back later.
Okay.
You said that if it's something such as like Trump.
Yeah.
So, again, that means that if someone says something
so egregious,
if they say something that's so egregious to you, then you're cutting them out. Period.
Then I do not.
No questions asked.
Let me say this. That I do. If somebody says something as egregious as Trump is my brother, or I support Trump, then no, I do not have anything more to say to them.
You're trying to go into context.
That is the specific situation. In other situations I would listen to what somebody has to say. But my thing is that
it has to be as egregious as whatever Trump
saying that you support Trump because he represents evil.
If there was something else egregious that had nothing to do with Trump, but it was egregious to you, you would say the same thing. Yes,
I would. There would be a level of me cutting out. Yes.
All right then.
It does not mean that everything I disagree with that I would not be willing to.
Everything.
Okay.
I said anything that is egregious. You said that if it's something that you do not agree with 100%, then they can get cut up. Such as the Trump situation.
Yeah. It's such as what I said to you in the car on the way up. When we were arguing, I said to you, I was like, there are sick individuals out there who want to have pedophilia classified as a sexual orientation. Yeah, I don't need to.
That's a little different.
It is different, but at the same time, it's an egregious opinion to have. I don't need to hear from somebody who's going to try and convince me that pedophilia should be a sexual orientation like gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual is. It's not. I don't need to hear anything else. I don't. Because your opinion is wrong, and I don't need to hear any other context to that argument, because my opinion on that type of argument, on that type of statement, is not going to change. Telling me that you support Donald Trump as a politician or person tells me basically everything I need to know about you. And so therefore I will not familiarize myself with you any further. I am not going to support your art. I am not going to support your Patreon, your stores. And that's my bottom line. Now, if you're telling me that you think that, Zara is better than Topshop, then that's totally, I'm giving you the most surface level thing, but that's something that I'm willing to listen to.
But you're not listening to anything I said. My
How am I
argument
not?
was that if it's something that is egregious to you, you are cutting them off. Period. We're not saying Zara versus whatever.
Okay.
All I'm saying is if it's something that you are adamantly against, you are cutting them out. Period.
If it's as egregious as those two things I said, yes.
Okay. All right. Well,
I reserve the right to change my mind.
Listen, that's the quarrel for this week. So
I think
we're good. So we're good. So I just want people to know that we're not beefing or anything like that. Yeah. So.
Well, this was a definite.
This quarrel has not. There's no winners or losers in this one. On the Family
Kanye.
Feuds. So see what I did there. Anyway, thank you for checking us out. And
Yes, thank you.
be on the lookout on our IG. We are helping out our family. Horrible Decisions.
Hi, guys.
We are giving away 2 tickets to their live show on May 19th in Atlanta. To enter, follow our IG page. You'll see the post. They'll have the instructions. And we'll be letting people, we'll let the winners know on May 11th on that episode that comes out on May 11th. I think that's a Friday.
Yeah.
So, so
if you're going to be in the Atlanta
if you want to be in the Atlanta area and you want some free tickets to see Weezy and Mandy,
do their thing.
Free 99.
Learn you some new things.
Then, just follow us and you'll get that information. We appreciate you. Please continue sending the emails. loversquarrelshow@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, Lovers Quarrel Show. On Twitter, loversquarrel7. And, we enjoy this. We appreciate y'all. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Lovers Quarrel. We're at an hour and 30 minutes, so we were rapping. See, Kanye was a good quarrel. Good job, Dani. So,
thank you.
We appreciate
I feel passionately.
Y'all. And as always,
we fuss.
We fight.
But we love. Bye.
Farewell, y'all.